Hi everyone, this is my ninth video teaching journal for Teaching English 2201 this spring. This time I wanted to talk about an activity about how I introduce students to source analysis. So I was going back and forth about how to do practice source analysis, how to get students really to think about digging deep into sources, and to help them transitioning into the Category 2 assignments that are more focused in their individual research, because at the moment they're working on a literature review which will go into their research paper. So I wanted them to think about how they can critically think about a particular topic and do source analysis practice on it. So I wanted to do something that was interactive. So for this activity, I focused specifically just on digital and audio sources, even though the students mainly are focusing on peer-reviewed academic articles for the majority, and then I did allow a few as extras if they wanted to include websites or other things that they felt were pertinent to their literature review. But I'm having them focus on that print, even though I had the examples of doing digital and audio sources, because I knew it would be more interactive in the classroom. So when I was thinking about topics to discuss, I decided to do a general discussion around hate crimes in the United States, because I have said in some of my previous journals, I believe every time that we introduce a source or some type of practice material where we have examples, we have a real opportunity to try to get the students critically thinking about issues that are going on right now. So that's what I did. I focused on two victims of hate crimes who died of hate crimes. One was Matthew Shepard, who was a young 18 who was killed in 1998, and then James Byrd, who was also killed in 1998, who was a young African-American father. Both were very crucial to get the United States thinking critically more about hate crimes and about hate crime legislation in the United States. So I focused on two news stories that gave background on both of them, each of the stories, and then I did an interview of one of James Byrd Jr.'s one of his family members. And then for Matthew Shepard, I did the transcript of his father's statement to the court during the sentencing hearing of the two who killed him in 1999. And that was actually an audio recording of him actually speaking it. That was a really good source for the students, because it also talked about the issue, but it was very personal and very emotional, because it was his father actually speaking it. And then that fourth source that I introduced the students to was Obama's speech introducing the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate crime law, which made it easier to prosecute hate crimes in the United States. That was done, I think off the top of my head, in 2009. just about a year or so after he was in office, but he had both of the families up there. He was talking about, started off with talking about Martin Luther King and African American rights and LGBTQ rights, and how those two are very important, but we also need to think about all other identities as well. So I had the students write, or after watching each of them, I had them write down some things that they pulled out of the sources, jot down like notes, and then at the end I had them do a reflection, which was a practice analysis of the group of sources, what they all say about the topic, how they interconnect, because I made sure that they all interconnected. Two of the three sources, or two of the other sources, actually had quotes out of Matthew Shepard's father's speech, so showing that interconnection of how they were all working together. Even the sources were intertwined with one another. So how they all work together, and had them reflect on that, and an analysis of how these all come together. And then I had them come up with a practice research question. So I gave them about 15 minutes to write on that. And then we did it was a little bit different in each of the classes because the time was a little bit different, but then we had about 10 to 15 minutes of discussion at the end. And that really got students to critically think about sources, so I think it was really good to do. That's it for this time. Talk to you next time. Bye.